أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. You are listening to Ramadan special broadcast on EAVA 102.5 FM with myself, Fatema, and Sister Salma on the Our Voice show between 5 and 6, Mondays, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I had to think about that one, Sister Salma. Assalamu alaikum to everybody. Hope everyone's having a lovely day. We're still buzzing from the children's hour.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum salam. How are you, Sister Salma?
I have to call you Sister Fatema now, not Auntie Fatema.
From Auntie to Sister. First of all, I want to just ask for forgiveness for people that mentioned on Facebook on the children's hour and I could not mention the names. Assalamu alaikum to everyone that had sent something on the Facebook messages, inshallah. Right, so today's discussion, Sister Salma, is it's a continuation of last week Tuesday's program about me and Amrin and about the elderly and that we don't do enough for them or what we should do. So today it's about what we do, what we can do for elderly and what's already out there for them. What the community, my producer is saying, I do. Yes, he does indeed. And what's already out there in the community for them. Right, inshallah.
Yeah, it would be wonderful to hear from people who are out there doing things for the elderly.
Absolutely,
and to point out what their needs are as well, because we might be very capable and not realise how helpful we can be, or in somebody who's having a very difficult time.
There's so many needs. Just like when we go back to like a baby, how much attention and care a baby needs, right? And it's a circle. You get back to old age and it's like being a baby again. So there's so much needs that we need to fulfill for our elders.
Yes.
And I'm sure there's so many amazing people out there doing so many amazing things right now as we speak, and every day of their lives, and they dedicate themselves. We just want to hear from them, inshallah, because it could be a service that you're providing, that, daycare centers, outings, meals. You could be doing so much. And we don't know about it, and people don't know about it. So use this today, just to let us know what you do and how people can get to know about you, where they can find out about what you provide for the elderly, inshallah.
Absolutely.
It's just about getting this information out to as much as families out there we can, because only an elder person knows when they're sitting alone in that home daily, when all of us just branch out to our daily schedules of work, school, whatever that we do.
Yeah, sometimes you hear in the newspaper that somebody's passed away, and it hasn't been discovered for weeks and weeks.
Stuck for a lot.
And it's so sad what we've come to, isn't it? What we've become.
It's really sad. But like we said, if we all make that little difference, we can make such a big difference.
We all just did a little bit.
Our little share, right, towards one elderly person. We could all work, and we have no idea how much reward we're earning at the same time. So helping the person is the most beautiful thing. There should be nothing, no intention of like you want to receive something back, but Allah is giving us something back, isn't He?
You never know which one of your deeds can take you to Jannah.
Absolutely.
Because we just, it just depends. We don't know what the need of that person and how big or little it has meant to them.
I completely agree with you. So inshallah, anything you've got to tell us, anything or people that need help, or already elderly person that needs, let us know. Or if you do something small, I know sometimes people want to do things quietly.
Yeah, we're not experts in this field, and we would love to hear from people.
We'd love to hear from them. And the number to call in is 0116 212 9324, or you can text us on 07450 925 084. And you can also find us on Facebook Live.
Yes, if you can put your comments on Facebook.
You can put them on there. We'll read them out for you, inshallah, on behalf if you don't want to call in as well. And just to let the listeners know that whatever we say on the show today, it is our own views and what we feel, and our guests and our hosts and the callers that call in. If we do make any mistakes, please do forgive us, because we do collect information from here and there, and just as much as research we could do for centers that are available. But if we do get them wrong, please do correct us. And do forgive us if we get something terribly wrong as well. It's not intended, inshallah. So, Sister Salma, for start off with, I want to mention the things that we need to cover when we're talking about looking after the elderly, or what we can provide for them. The different services that we might already be there, or that we are able to probably start providing. At least the needs we can cover. So I just made a few points on mobility.
Yes.
for the elderly. It's important to the elderly, even if it's just within their own surroundings, within their own homes, within their own rooms. Make sure that we need to make sure they are properly fitted for. If it's a wheelchair that they need, if it's a motorized mobility chair they need, a walker, a cane, anything. Sometimes elderly, I know so many other people that no matter how much they're struggling, they don't want to take a cane. They don't want to take a stick. They don't want to take that. They don't want to lean on anything because they feel like, no, I can do it. I want to push myself. I've seen so many elderly people.
I've met people like that. Yeah. And that's really interesting because some people don't want to have the wheelchair or the walking stick or the whatever.
Because they're embarrassed.
But there are other people who you see them riding around on their scooters.
Scooting around.
And it looks like great fun. But then you see them get out and go shopping. So
yes.
It's a mode of transport.
Absolutely,
that gets them there. But, some people will not go to the extent of having the mobility scooter and so on, and a walking stick or a walking frame, because they want to just keep going. And they feel that because if you actually are not really in need of them at that point, then you're letting your muscles go to waste a little bit.
Absolutely, yes.
I know my mum used to struggle so much. She didn't want to be in a wheelchair. And she struggled so much to force herself not to be in a wheelchair.
Same with my grandmother.
She had a physiotherapist come round. And
wow.
I remember she was just approaching her 80th birthday and she was determined to get back out of her wheelchair and be walking on her 80th birthday.
Wow. And maybe reach something like that.
Yeah.
But it's when you say that, Sister Salma, it's also sometimes it's good to push them in ourselves. We could push them. Sometimes they're like, no, I can't do it. So encourage them and giving them a little bit of push. It's our will, isn't it? When you get to that age. But also don't not completely not see what's actually the real struggle that they're having. So if they do, and they, it's the dignity and the respect, they're embarrassed that, sometimes leaning on, like, for example, I've seen young women when they're pregnant, they're going to walk in crutches. I actually had to do something like that, right? And I wouldn't do it. I was thinking, this is embarrassing. I'm not walking around and I had to because I had disc issues, right? Yeah. But I was embarrassed. I would not be able to walk around with sticks. I was like, I'd rather stay at home.
My son had that difficulty. He had operations on his knees when he was at school, and he didn't want to go to school. He didn't want to be seen on crutches.
So I think,
it was just so the whole thing was so humiliating and everything.
It is.
And then
embarrassing.
He had people telling him that he was only doing it to get attention.
Yeah,
whatever.
and you do put a lot more attention on you, isn't it? And I think it goes the same for the elderly. What they feel is that when they've been so independent and so strong,
absolutely,
and like our elders are, they've been like so strong-willed, right? And then suddenly they have to take help from someone or something. It hurts their ego. It hurts their dignity, and So being able to recognize, right, where the limit is of balancing it out. Do we need to give them a push because they're too scared, or do we need to get the right help in and give them the support they need, in the sense if they need a cane, if they need a wheelchair, and recognizing that, right? So that's one thing, mobility. So even when they goes in the shower, we've heard of so many elder people falling down and they're doing wudu, or they're taking a shower, they have a slip. So let's make sure we've got the right handlers. Provide for our elders if they're living with us in our homes, or if you know a neighbor. If you can't, not saying
what they
need, or they could probably
they need,
what they could even get from if you see that they are struggling, take them to the doctors, and the doctor could give you means of where you can actually get all these things that are required for them.
And sometimes people are worried about the cost of these things, but you can often get them free.
Yes,
and then you can also apply for grants.
Grants,
like
yes,
PIP, which is as a personal allowance.
Yes.
If you need to be able to afford certain things that you, because of your mobility issues and so on.
Absolutely.
So there's plenty of benefits out there that perhaps the elderly don't know about. They don't have access to. They don't realise what's out there for them, and it's just making sure that they have what they're entitled to.
Absolutely.
And what they need.
I agree completely with that. That's mobility. Transportation. It can be life-saving for an elderly person, actually. If you can no longer drive, set up a help, just drive them down to where they need to go. Maybe it's just down the shops to just pick up some shopping, or go to the pharmacy or to the post office to pick up the pension, to the hospital, to the doctor's appointments. They have so much to attend. Yeah. And they avoid all of that because they can't make it down there.
It's too big an issue.
They'll go hungry on nights because they haven't got the energy to walk down to go and get food for the day. I know of people like that. And they're too embarrassed to ask people for help because they've been they're self-independent people.
They're used to being independent.
I'm not saying everybody's like that, but at least they can try and recognize, because the ones that ask for help, they'll come to us and ask for help, right? But the ones that don't, and I think most of them are like that, we need to really make that effort of, trying to make things safe for them, get them to places, help them. Sometimes, you'll just see old people walking in the street, really struggling to walk. If you're free, if you've got some time on you, if it's safe as well, and if, just ask them, would you like a lift anywhere? Most of the time, they're terrified. They're going to say, no, it's okay. Sometimes you'll get a thing, oh, yes, please, darling, thank you. And then they'll come in the car with you because, and see what you can offer. It's not always, but, keep an eye out for these.
Yeah, especially in bad weather.
In bad weather, definitely. Medication. Sorry, someone, you're going to say something there.
I was going to mention company, actually, and because when my mother was elderly, before she passed away, she had a wonderful lady come round and visit her every Wednesday, and they would just sit and talk, and they knew each other's families inside out and everything else that went with it. And it was really good company for my mum, and she used to help her do her paperwork, and she used to help her. She used to bring library books for her.
Oh.
And then they shared common hobbies and things like that. And she was actually, when she came, she actually found my mum when she'd passed away as well. I wasn't there.
Wow.
It's wonderful to have people there.
People like that, yeah.
And she, like you were saying, some of these people were so strong, were so independent. My mother was a teacher. I met a lady last night. She was a psychiatrist.
Wow.
And she looked like she was in her 80s or 90s. But I thought, wow, I wonder what sort of life she must have lived. And she was telling me that she's lived all over so many places, and she's lived in America. And you look and you see a frail old lady, and sometimes we forget that they could have had the most amazing life. And we know nothing about it if we don't ask.
Yep. And it's only because of their old age and physical ability that they're not able to do and be what they used to be, what we are now.
Yeah, and I think the elderly probably love to have someone to talk to about, if they don't have company, if they don't have families around them, someone to talk to about what they've been through in their life, what their highlights were, or what lessons they have to teach, and so on. Because there's so much we can learn from the elderly.
And then you realize there's not much difference between them at their old age and us when they were young, like us. So, and we're going to get there. We need to recognize that as well. It's not long. It's not long.
Yeah.
And then that comes to the point of medication. Senior citizens need proper medication to remain healthy. This begins with adequate medical care, such as doctor's visits. So that comes to the transportation as well. That half the time they ignore that because they can't get there in the first place. Or, they think, how am I going to walk down? Because the surgery is not close by. Well,
you can get home
visits. But you can get home visits, yes. Again, knowing about that.
You can get your medications delivered to you as well.
There's a lot out there. Pharmacies, like you just said, that nowadays a prescription is delivered to your home.
Yes.
For the young and the old, for everybody now, right? But the thing is, old people are not, we need to remember that we are tech savvy, this generation, this era.
Yes.
Everything's everywhere. But they don't have access to that. They probably just about have a telephone, if that is as well, if they can afford it, Yes. So it's really important that we take care of the elders that we know, or the neighbors, or people that we just see that, it's okay to go up and ask that, is everything okay for you? Are you okay with this? And so and so. Because if there's an older person in a home right now that we don't know, and they really haven't got access to a doctor's surgery, or because they can't make themselves, make their way there, and they're ignoring something like an eye infection or earache or anything, just being there and just asking them, have you got your medication? Are you okay? Just being there and reassuring them that, you're there to, so keeping an eye on that. A lot of elderly people are struggling with chest infections and asthma. So just make sure they've got the inhalers, because if they haven't got that on them one particular day, then they need it.
And if they need home help, are they asking for
it?
Are they
asking for it? Absolutely.
Are their doctors aware?
I know people who don't go to the doctor and ask for things like that because they're scared that their whole life, that their comfort zone that they're used to, like I know somebody who can't really climb the first floor right now, but she's too scared to mention it to her doctor because she's scared they're going to send carers into her home and so on, and her whole life will have to change suddenly, and everything that she's used to is going to be chucked out the window and everything starts again, and they feel like they haven't got the physical energy for that. So it's really important how we even tell them about these things, because, and if they're not okay with it, just ease them into it as well. Because we can make them more sick by enforcing that onto them as well, So medication. And then that brings us, sorry, I just want to shout out to all the Facebook people. Amreen, Assalamu alaikum, she's listening. Oak Lib says, good, I hope you're enjoying the show. Shinaz Chapat, Assalamu alaikum, welcome, and Jazakallah for your support. You are on Ramadan special broadcast on EAVA 102.5 FM. We are discussing what we do for our elders, what we can do, and what there's already, what's out there for them already in the terms that we're discussing: mobility, transportation, medication, personal care, nutrition, and many more ways. The number to call in if you've got something to share with us is 212-9324, or you can text us on 07450925084. We are also on Facebook Live. Sorry, Sister Salma, you were saying something.
It's gone.
I'm really sorry.
I was going to mention, though, that there are organisations like Help the Aged.
Yes,
and there's a few of them.
There is a few,
and they have day centres where people can go in once a week or sometimes every day.
You should have made a few notes as well for people that they can contact. I've got some contact numbers, some websites.
That's brilliant.
With a couple only, and centres that go. So inshallah, before the end of the show, we'll mention a few, and hopefully we're hoping someone's going to call us in with more things that we don't know of, or even if it is we've got on a paper. It'll be nice to hear from them.
I know for people who speak Urdu or who are Pakistani, there's the Piker organisation, and I know a few elderly ladies who go there on a weekly basis.
Excellent.
I think it's PYCA, but I'm not quite sure.
PYCA. Okay, we can try and PYCA.
Yeah.
Okay, inshallah. We'll discuss that. We'll mention it again at the end as well, because it is really important. And I am aware that a lot of communities, each community, the Pakistani, Myanmar, Gujarati, Kachri, each community does actually hold as well. Yes. And it's welcome for all, but each one has actually got something. We'll mention that, inshallah, towards the end. But the producer has actually just bought the PYCA, PYCA, on the leading edge of community development. Inshallah, we can post a link to this website on Facebook page today. So if anybody is driving right now or just listening and is not on Facebook, you can go back to our show on Facebook on the Our Voice between 5 and 6, and you can actually get the information on the links that are sent on there for you all. Right, so we were talking about medication, personal care. Personal care is the most important daily need for our citizens, senior citizens. He may need assistance with bathing, dressing, personal grooming. There are home health aides or other family members that can help with these tasks if necessary as well. But it's not, everyone's not got an elder in the family, or everyone's not, got the information. Again, just find out, educate yourself on these things. And if you have got an elderly neighbour, just make sure they're all okay.
Yeah, even if you're too busy yourself to do anything, maybe you could organise a carer for them, or direct somebody else who can help them.
Absolutely.
Because there are also so many predators out there, aren't there? Mm-hmm. That it's quite scary. We have people knocking on the door for all sorts of things.
Absolutely.
And people
they're terrified,
just snooping around to see how they can get in. And I know when my mother was living in her own bungalow on an estate in Markfield next to the Islamic Foundation, and she was very, very blessed to be there. But she had salesmen knocking on the door trying to sell her expensive beds and armchairs and everything. Excellent. And they charge them through the roof.
Silly.
And, so many people get ripped off, or, a lot of people want to keep their money in their house or whatever, and they get burgled.
You're so right about that.
And brutalised.
Absolutely. You've just brought something up in my head that I just know an elderly lady, the last time she went to pay her phone bill, I just checked her bill. And these I'm not going to give any names out, but phone companies, gas, electrical companies, we're really going to see if we can help our elderly out and make sure they're getting the right tariffs, because these salespeople call them and they take advantage of them being old, and they really tie them into silly contracts, and they pay extortionate prices on mobile. No one on mobiles, we have like mobile broadband, all that. They just have telephone lines, and they pay silly things like 60, 70 pounds a month for it.
Yeah.
And their pension, how are they meant to live and afford those telephone lines and pay their water bills, electricity bill, gas bills? So if you know anybody, and just go and just check that, are they okay with, are they not paying too much? And then call on behalf of them.
Is it because they're paying too much for their services?
Sometimes what it is, they haven't got enough money to go and buy a meal because they're paying so much on the services which they hardly even use. So it's really important that we make ourselves aware.
Maybe they're paying for services which they don't realise.
They don't even know. You're so right. And we've heard these things so many times, again and again, media, news, how elderly get pulled into things like this, and bless them, they're not even aware of it. And that sometimes they just don't know, and they give the details over the phone. So it's just protecting themselves. It's so important, and bless them, they don't know how to do that. And it's really important as citizens, neighbours or family members. I mean, it's okay when they're living with us, because the younger generation, the children, we're managing all that, and they really don't have to worry about that. But there is a lot that are alone still. Not everyone's not blessed with that as well. There are a lot that are alone, and they have no family members. And you could be a neighbour to one of them. Whether it's a male or a female, it doesn't matter. You could be a neighbour to one of them, or they could be a husband and wife living next door to you. And whatever it is, just go knock on the door and build that friendship, because of course you're going to remember, like we said, they're terrified. And to build trust with the elderly person, it takes much more. It's just like a child. To win the heart of a child, you got to work towards it. Same things for the elderly. Build up. Say by hello slowly, knock on every day, how are you okay? Build the trust, small acts of kindness. Just exactly as our way of life in Islam, small acts of kindness, inshallah. And then it comes down to nutrition. We've only got about 3 minutes to the break, so nutrition, how they eat and what they're eating. I know somebody who just literally buys Co-op or I shouldn't mention the name, but literally just goes to the stores and buys ready-made frozen meals.
Food,
And the reason I mentioned Co-op is because she goes there all the time, and just mentioned that, but I know I shouldn't, so I take that back. But yes, they eat frozen meals on a daily basis. Microwave, meals. Just open a can of beans or sweet corn or tuna, and they just eat that. And I know people like that.
And there's no nutrition in it.
There's no nutrition in it.
They're eating that day in and day out because they don't have
physical ability,
perhaps,
or they think, let's save on energy bills. Whatever, there's many reasons they've got, and they just can't be sometimes. I mean, we can't be asked sometimes to cook. I have many days in a week where I don't want to cook. But what makes us cook is because I've got children in my house and I've got to do it. But what it is for them, they've got no motivation. They've got either each other.
When you're on your own.
When you're on your own, there's no motivation.
There's and you also, I mean, having somebody to eat with at a mealtime we take it for granted. But, when you're sitting and eating alone, day in and day out. We
touched upon that last week as well.
3 times a day.
It's they actually don't want to eat,
isn't it?
And loneliness can get you to all sorts of hallucinations, dementia. I mean, we're not experts in that in those fields, but just from personal experiences, I've seen what happens to elderly people. Just being alone, and they're just lost, and sometimes they don't realize when it's time to eat or when it's not, or they've already just eaten and they've forgotten that they've eaten and they want to eat again. So there's all sorts of scenarios we can put and talk about here, but. Yes, the main thing comes down to that we become aware of it, and that we pay attention to it and open our eye that there is people around us that genuinely need help. And more than our life struggles every day, we run around like in the rat race. Let's take a few moments out in a day or in a week. It's really difficult. I get it, because I know. But even in a week, if we just take some time out and pay attention to these basic necessities of mobility, transportation, medication, personal care, just bathing and showering, food. That's a charity, and that's a way of living. And these little acts of kindness will...
Just knowing what their favourite foods are.
Just knowing that. A sweet. Sometimes grapes.
Baking.
Yes.
Just take something around to share.
Just make a little extra and have
chapatis and
inshallah.
Healthy food.
Definitely. Healthy food. No, but they love it, right? They love it. I mean, they're not able to make the chapatis and things they used to make before, so take those things around for them. Grapes and chocolates. They're like little kids. They love chocolates as well. Just little things like that can make them smile, inshallah. And just one thing before we go, we've got 21 seconds to go. I love that little thing. I want to stop on that. But just when you're walking on the street and you have an elderly person, you just talk to them. And when you see them walk away, they have a smile forever.
Yes, sometimes that's the only conversation or contact they'll have in a day.
Exactly. Right, we shall be back. We have only 5 seconds, and we'll be back with after the break, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. You are on the Our Voice show on Ramadan special broadcasting EAVA FM 102.5 FM with myself, Fatema, and Sister Salma.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. And just before the break, we've been discussing what we do for our old elders and what we can do and what there is already out there. Yes. And if you're looking to set something up for the elderly, let us know. Let us know. Call us in on 0116 212 9324 or text us on 074 25084 on Ramadan special broadcasting EAVA 102.5 FM. So, Salma.
Can I just bring us back to, we were talking about keeping the elderly company. I remember a few years ago, I went to one of Salma Rawat's Saturday drop-ins for the homeless. And I went in and they'd already had their lunch and everything. And they said, oh, just sit down and play some games with them. So I went and I opened up a chess set.
Lovely.
Chess.
Yes.
And somebody came and challenged me. And then all of these people, all of these homeless people, some of them quite elderly, just started to gather around.
Wow.
And they were all playing against me.
Oh.
And they won.
Well, of course they would. The knowledge and experience they have for chess game.
And there was one particular guy who was just saying, no, you shouldn't have done that. No, you shouldn't have done that.
How amazing isn't it?
It was so incredible. And I just thought, well, I hope that made them feel good today.
Definitely. I mean, imagine you had what you received from it. You enjoyed yourself and it opened up whatever. But imagine what it done for them.
Yeah, but I underestimated them.
Yeah,
honestly,
did you really?
I did. Well,
I would know if I'm going to play chess with an elderly person, especially if they're ready to take on, like, come on, I want to play with you.
They weren't just elderly, they were homeless. Well, I underestimate. It's like, you look at somebody, you see what you see, but you don't see what's behind those eyes. You haven't seen what they've seen.
That's so true.
And you don't know what they've been through, and you don't know what
we don't know the life before this and what they've done. We don't know nothing.
We make assumptions.
We really do.
And it's very, very dangerous to make assumptions because, and it's like, we were saying earlier about give 70 excuses, We should think wider. We should think more laterally about, what people could have gone through and
Allah grant us all that.
And perhaps ask questions, not to be nosy, but just to get a bit more understanding of who they really are. Use
that moment to get to know the person as well.
Yeah.
Really, it's so nice.
And try to bring out the best in them as well.
Absolutely.
And, I don't know whether they're religious or not, but, give them hope. Absolutely. That one of the most important things in life is never to lose your hope. And when you can instill that in someone, or just like, I'll pop in a week's time and I'll get you this. Or just doing. My mother was so blessed. She had 2 ladies in Markfield who used to do her shopping. She was employing a lady to do her cleaning, but it was somebody that she knew. And she used to do all sorts for her. They used to fix everything in the house. Her and her husband. They didn't just do her cleaning.
Speaking of like family members, don't they?
She was just really blessed.
Absolutely.
And I remember when the cleaning lady, she went abroad for a week, and my mother thought she'd lost her, and she went hysterical. It was like she'd lost an arm or a leg. She was so upset that this lady hadn't been in touch.
That's the other thing I was going to mention, that when we do start doing things for our elders, let's try and keep it consistent, because they really quickly become dependent of us then.
Even if it's a small thing.
Even if it's a small thing. If it's you're just buying them a newspaper, local newspaper, on a weekly or a daily basis, whatever it is. But then keep up with it. So commit to something small if you can't.
Maybe even just a little bunch of flowers.
Exactly. And then dedicate yourself and be consistent, because then remember, it's like a child. Again, I'm going to go back to that again and again, because they are like little children and they like routine and they're used to it. And then also, you're probably everything they've got. And everyone they've got, right?
It's possible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very possible. So when you do dedicate that time and give that commitment, keep it consistent. It's really important that we do that, because it means everything to them.
That myself.
No, and it's not always easy, because we always want to help people. Salma, everyone's got a heart that wants to go and do things for people, as I'm sure. It's just we get so lost and tied in our own life, and it sucks us in so bad that we're unable. And sometimes it's our own health and our own things as well,
I look at you, Sister Fatima, and you've got 2 young children, you're a single mum, you've got a business.
And it's all from Allah.
And then the other day you said quickly, I have to go and do this thing for this lady. And because she expects it every week. And I just thought, subhanAllah, how does she find the time
They're the ones that give us the time. It's their du'as that maybe just doing that one thing for them a week. And sometimes I'm no saint, I'm nothing, and everything's from Allah. We all have our bad low days, and you know that. But the thing is that I feel that even when I'm not okay to do anything for myself, I must do it for them or for her, because that little thing, it means everything. It means everything to her, and that could, like they say from inside, whatever she's wishing for me or praying for me, she prays for me, and that's all that matters. And that can give us the whole fuel for the rest of our week or whatever it is.
So important what you're saying, because it's like when you're giving in charity, when you're giving money for the homeless, money for refugees, you're not doing it for them.
We're not doing it. It's all for us. Yourself. And we forget that. We think we're making life okay for that person. Or it isn't. We're doing no favors to nobody. In fact, like you said, it's only for ourselves. Yeah. Right?
And I met one lady, and she was in her 40s when she said this to me. And she said she always blesses the children when they do little acts of kindness for her, whether they bring her, just serve her a cup of tea or whatever.
Yeah.
She said, "You never know who it's going to be who's going to give you
dua,
who's going to give you your last glass of water."
That's
you
amazing.
Never know and when kids know that you appreciate what they do and you make dua for them,
absolutely,
then they're going to want to do more for you.
I agree with you, and I'm sure all our listeners that are listening, and I completely agree with you. We are on Ramadan special broadcast, EAVA 102.5 FM. We are discussing about our elders today, what we do for them, what we can do, and what there's already out for them in the community. Yeah, we want to hear from you.
Especially as Muslims,
yes,
and it's Ramadan. And absolutely, maybe we can start good habits in this month.
Please.
Rather than just focusing on, our own agenda.
Definitely.
Maybe we can start good habits and make someone else happy.
Definitely. That's the only thing we're going to take away with us in our grave. Nothing else. And everything that we struggle for on a daily basis, our work, our properties, whatever it is, everyone's got their own things. None of that's going to come with us. But what you're talking about now.
The only real thing that's important is Jannah. So what's going to get you to Jannah?
The Sadaqah Jariyah that we take along with us. That's it, right? So the number to call in to share your views, 0116 212 9324, or text us on 07450 925 084. I want to mention a few centers, because I actually rang around people today just to see what centers happen on a daily basis.
Yes.
If I'm wrong in any way, if things have changed, please do correct us by all means. I know they said that on a Tuesday or Wednesday they have Highfields Community Center, but it was closed this week. Was the information I was given. But please do contact the Highfields Community Center. If you're elderly, just ask somebody young in the family or anybody you know to find out details for you. Or if you're the young ones listening and you want to find out for your grandparents or anybody you know, just for them to go away on a daily, on a Tuesday or Wednesday to a center where they're meeting people of the same age and they're getting to socialize, eat, have a meal with them, and just talk about, be. Right, we have a caller. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, Salma?
Alhamdulillah. Sorry, this is Fatema. Salma.
I'm Salma, yes.
How are you? How's Fatema as well? Give my salam to Fatema as well.
Alhamdulillah.
How are you, Salma?
Alhamdulillah.
I do not have your number. I don't know what happened. You know who I'm speaking?
I do. I'm trying to think of your name. From the butchers.
Yeah, that's right.
From the bushes.
Bless you. How are you?
Alhamdulillah.
Lovely to hear from you. Alhamdulillah.
You're doing a good job, alhamdulillah. I'm really happy. I'm just pleased to hear your program.
Alhamdulillah.
It's really nice, mashallah. Alhamdulillah. Allah gives you strength and himmat.
Make dua for us all.
Inshallah. So, you know my husband passed away?
No. Inna lillahi wa inna.
Yes, it's last one, the 20th of April? Do dua for him.
Allah give him Jannah.
Ameen.
So do dua for him. So you give me your number, then I can contact you, because I had it, but I could not speak to you after a long time.
I can't give it on air. Perhaps to the producer, if you can give your number to the producer, I will contact you.
Yeah, I'll give you them. Yeah.
May Allah bless your husband and give him Jannah.
Inshallah. His husband is okay?
Alhamdulillah.
Give my remember that in your duas.
Inshallah. Okay. You too. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Right. Jazakallah for that. Cool. Right. So we were back to, we were saying Tuesday, Highfields Community Centre, or Wednesday. Please do call them. Actually, you know what? I've just seen a Facebook message. Okay. From Facebook, from Fazana Khalifa. Highfields Centre also has an elders group every Wednesday. The centre is closed next week, but you can contact us from 3rd of June, inshallah. Excellent. That's just tallied out really well. Jazakallah for that, Sister Fazana. And the number for that is, she's also provided us with the number. It's 0116 253 1053. That's for the Highfield community centres, for the elderly, the gathering they have. They are going to be back up and running from the 3rd of June, inshallah. So the number is 253 1053. Please contact them. For anybody you know or yourself, if you need to attend, you want to attend, then please do give that number a call. Just remember, we are on the Ramadan special broadcast on EAVA 102.5 FM. And the number to call is 212-9324. Right. Back to the other centres that are available. Thursdays between 10 and 2 p.m. They have one at the Memon Centre, a Memon Community Centre off Peckham Road. Also have an elderly program. I believe that's on a Thursday between 10 and 2. That's correct, yes.
I think between 10 and 3. It would be really useful to take an elderly person to visit all of these different centres
and let them
see where they feel comfortable.
Excellent, yes.
And where they might like to go back to, and then you can perhaps make it a more regular thing for them.
Absolutely. And if you haven't got transportation, I'm sure a lot of these community centres, like the Memon Community Centre, if you give them a call, Highfields Community Centre, maybe give them a call, they might have a service where they can have, for transportation for you as well. Yeah, but always give them a call so you know, and you know what's available and what's not for you, and then you can pick from there what's suitable for you, right? Mm-hmm. Wednesdays, if I'm not wrong, Age Centre has something at the St. Philip's, the Age Concern, or they could have moved. Actually, no, I know where it is. That's actually moved now. But the best thing is, it's on Humberston Gate, the Age Centre, Age Concern, Age UK. They have all sorts of. They do socializing, sewing. Each week there's something new happening. Like you said, they get board games out. They talk about health checks, and they have different people attending, and all sorts.
People keep aware of what they could be doing or need to be doing for themselves as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And at the Age UK, there is a website. So for whoever can note the website down, and there's also a phone number I can provide today. They open from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's ageuk.co.uk. So ageuk.co.uk, and you can contact them on 0800 678 1602. So 0800 678 1602. They open from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And they hold all sorts of services. Whether we want to do something for the elderly, they've got like befriending services where they can make us meet up with another elderly person that we connect with and we get, and we can make a good pair, and you can go and visit them or just call them once a week. So that's one service they offer. The other thing wonderful. They hugely and they've got these day centres. They're hugely popular, and they have them all around the UK actually. Aim to improve the quality of life for the older people by helping them to be independent and be with other people.
And I'm sure that most of these centres will take volunteers as well if anybody wants to get some work experience.
Absolutely.
And see whether that's the sort of work that they want to go into in the future.
Definitely.
Or whether they just want to give a couple of hours a week.
And that's their way of doing something for the elderly.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's amazing, yeah.
There are many elderly people who also do charity work for the elderly.
They really do.
It's amazing.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
Right. Just another few things that Age UK Day Centres provide elder people with both practical assistance and a chance to socialise with support from trained staff and volunteers. The people, their clients enjoy a wide variety of activities which include singing, music, quizzes, gentle exercises, arts and crafts, day trips. I do know that, when one of my nanny goes to some, and they take them to shopping in local areas, and they just love it because they come back, she'll bring me gifts. She goes, Fatima, I bought this for you. She'll bring me a pile of biscuits. So many biscuits. She goes, I know your kids love these. I was like, yes, okay. You love it as well, because, they get excited. Yeah. That's their time, and they're not dependent on anybody else, where they get to go to the shops just like they used to and buy something. Producer's smiling at me with a big smile right now. Either he's trying to make me laugh, or he's agreeing with what I'm saying.
You're not tasting the biscuits right now, dear.
Yeah. But no, it's really nice. We've got a message, but if you say what you want to say, I don't want you to forget it.
I just wanted to mention something. Yeah, my memory's going already. I'm on the way.
It's okay.
But I was taught something by my mum's Christian friend's son. And he rang up one day and he said, I've been listening to this Muslim lady on the radio in Scotland, and she said that one way of looking after your parents is to take care of their friends. So I would like to drive my mum from Scotland down to see your mum in Markfield. Wow. And they came and they stayed with her for a few days. And she was so happy. Amazing. But, you know, it really moved me that he went out of his way to act on something. And he taught me something about my own religion as well. Since then, I've heard it a few times. But before that, I hadn't heard it and taken it in.
The way you did, yeah.
And you know, I heard she was ill this year. And my sister and I, we went up to Scotland and we saw her. And it was so, you know, it was just wonderful. She was my mum's best friend.
Little examples like that can mean so much, and it's just, if we all take them in, we can really make a difference for our elderly right now. You know. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Salma. Amreen, Assalamu alaikum, she's sent a message. OD Masjid have all kinds of classes, workshops for everyone. Yes. So yes, that's another one that you can contact, inshallah. We don't know the full, list of services they offer, but the best thing is do contact them, and then you can. And I'm sure a lot of
I think it's Tuesday and Wednesday mornings. But
Wednesday mornings,
yeah. We need to look up the hours.
Please do look up, inshallah. Yes, that's great. So yeah, just to go through what we said. So Wednesdays, they've got the age concern ones, and then Tuesday or Wednesday, the best thing is to ring the Haifaz Community Centre. We gave the number out, which was 0116 253 1053. Call them for the latest, updates and dates when they'll be carrying out these day center, sorry. And then the Thursdays 10 to 3 is the Mimel Hall one, Mimel Community Centre. No. And my producer just said to me that my nanny also buys him stuff. That's why he had such a big smile on his face. She's lovely. She showers us all with gifts all the time, and that's, again, we got lots to learn from our elders when we say that with the big hearts.
Do you know
which we can hardly do nowadays,
You've just reminded me of something, because whatever we do for our elders, we're teaching our children.
Absolutely.
And if we are putting them in a home or neglecting them, that will happen to us. I remember a picture that a little boy drew in the UAE of his father. He said, Daddy, I've just drawn a picture of my house.
Yes.
And this is where me and my wife, this is where me and my children, this is where this is going to happen. This is our kitchen. Yeah. And this is your little room downstairs, away from everything. So you've got peace and quiet. And he said, my son, why am I away from the family? Why am I all on my own? Why have I got such a small room? And he said, because that's where you put our grandfather.
Wow. I remember the picture. I know the picture you're talking about, and such a powerful, and
you can't forget things like that when you've seen it, and it just makes you realise that we're setting a precedent. Everything we do, we're setting an example for our children. And
your favourite line,
choking me up just thinking about that.
Definitely, it was really, really sad. We did touch up on this topic last week when we did how we treat our elderly.
I think my kids are getting worried about me, and they're trying to get me married off. So I'm someone else's responsibility.
Somebody else can look after you. It's amazing, isn't it? How we think and how we worried about how our elders are going to become a burden, when in fact they're nothing but a blessing. The barakah they have in our home when they're with us, when they go, the whole blessing is gone, and that home doesn't feel the same ever again. So the sooner our young and we all realize that, the more advantage we can take of our elders right now. For the ones that are lucky to have still got them, we're really going to take maximum use, like you said.
Can I just take a minute just now? The lady who rang in earlier, her name is Nargis. Sorry, my memory is so bad.
It's okay.
Nargis, I just want to make dua for you. I know you've lost your husband, and may Allah make it easy for you.
Ameen.
And may Allah bless him with Jannah, and may Allah bless you with a good life, and make everything just easy for you, and full of blessings, and full of hope for your children and your grandchildren, and for yourself. And I hope that you're tuning in, and that Ramadan Radio is good listening for you, inshallah.
Absolutely. Ameen. Jazakallah for that. So, I want to just give a typical day. For example, I've just taken one off the Age UK's website. just to give a typical example of what a typical day looks like for them when they attend a day care. Or when they want, when they want to have actually, when I spoke to someone at Age UK today, they said that they actually provide meals, 3 meals a day for people. So you can just walk in and you can, for the elderly, they can actually just go in, as in, there's no fix because obviously it depends on how the elderly is feeling on certain days. They might not want to get out of bed on a day and not go.
Yeah.
So, they've got it open for people to go and as and when they can.
And they get the opportunity to sit and eat with people.
Sit and eat with people.
And
whereas
that is a big deal for some people.
Yes. Absolutely, because some of them are just
Things
sitting
we
at
take
home
for
alone.
granted. Incredible.
Things we take for granted. So a typical day, what does a typical day look like? Every day at an Age UK day centre is different, but you can expect it to be like this. A wheelchair accessible minibus will come and pick you up from your house to take you to your day centre. Most Age UKs offer this optional transport service, so they offer it if you need it, right? Settle into the centre over a cup of tea and a chat. Morning activities will begin. A freshly prepared hot lunch will be served by our staff. More activities will then be organised for after lunch. And when the day is over, the minibus will drop you back at your house at an agreed time, what is convenient and comfortable for them.
Inshallah.
And I'm pretty much, that summarizes in my head that a lot of these centres, so the ones I'm not sure about the transportation for all of them, but I know they all provide the same sort of thing. So finding out what's there for your elders in your local areas, in your community, in your local masjids, community centres, including the Age UK, and then there's many more, which I'm not aware of. And I was hoping that we've had Sister Amin shared about the Oldbin Masjid. Fazana's told us about Highfields Community Centre, and that they'll be up and running back from the 3rd of June again, inshallah. So yeah, just really.
There's a lovely cafe at the Highfield Centre as well.
Is there? I've not actually been since it's all been done up, so I'm not sure. I don't know how that actually looks, but yeah, people have said. So again, just touching on what we covered, that what we need to look out for in our elderly, in our older family members.
Yeah, some of them want to keep learning as well.
They want to keep learning.
It's helping them to learn what it is they want to learn.
Yeah.
Some people do degrees when they're 70. It's amazing.
Absolutely. And I actually know a lady who's doing a degree. She's 68 years old.
Yeah.
I met her at a poetry event. Her name is Maria. And she tells us stories of, she says that I want to change the legendary story of Cinderella. I want to change it.
Yeah.
I want to change it to my translation. And she's 68 years old and she's doing a degree at the moment. And she pushes me to do things.
MashaAllah.
And she's on Facebook. You know how I talk about elderly? She's on Facebook and she sends messages on Facebook. And she's probably better at it than me, absolutely. And so so like you said, it depends. Some of them are really strong still, physically going, and they're up to date with all the tech that we're all using nowadays, and they're really in it, But then again, some of them aren't. And I was saying that elderly in our home, recognizing some of these things like we mentioned today, the mobility, because we're so used to, say for example, you're an elderly person, you got an elderly mum or a father in your home, and you probably got both of them as well. And we're so used to seeing them being independent in the, getting out, doing things daily, and the mum cooking for you and things. We forget to recognize, or we actually don't recognize when their health is deteriorating, their physical ability is starting to deteriorate. We actually physically do not see that happening because we're so used to seeing our mum and dad as our mum and dad, the strong, independent people providing for us and running the house, So we miss those things. So it's really important that we do pay attention to those as well, because like we say, if we don't take care of them and if we don't notice it for them and don't take the way they've looked after us for the whole of their lives, when are we gonna be able to give that?
Yes. And sometimes our children grow up and they end up in different countries and different parts of the country, and our spouse might pass away.
Exactly. So inshallah, may Allah give it to all of us the hidayah to look after and take care of our elders and be excellent providers for them. And I hope our listeners really benefit from our show today, because that's our intention, that we really make a difference for our elderlies. And I've really enjoyed doing the show with you today, Salma. Jazakallah. Inshallah. And see you next week, Monday, with our voice show between 5 and 6. Assalamu alaikum.